Hey, it's your girl, Queen of Collaboration, Angela Thomas Smith, coming to you on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I will be up close and personal with these amazing authors from all over the world. 122 authors will be featured across our podcast and our blog. Follow the Queen, Angela Thomas Smith, at Linktree, Queen of Collaboration. Get to know these amazing authors.
Welcome. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Up Close and Personal with Angela on behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine, where our desire is to bridge the gap between brown authors all over this world and to touch on topics that's affecting our brown community. Again, I am super excited to be able to bring and highlight these amazing authors that's doing amazing things around the world. Not just here in America, not just here in South Carolina, not just here in my neck of the woods, but they are touching, impacting lives all around this world. And I'm just super excited to be able to share their brands, to be able to share what they are doing and how they are trying to be the change that they desire to see. So I'm excited. I'm excited to have this special guest. I tell you, this queen touched my heart when I first laid eyes on her. I had the opportunity to be a co-cast member of a monologue with her. Her testimony touched my heart. And I tell you, I am forever grateful to be in her circle. I tell you, she is an epitome of resilience. If you don't know what that word means, I definitely want you to take a moment and just sit and listen to her testimony. Follow her platform, check out her books, and I'm telling you, you will see an example of a living testimony of resilience. I'm going to move out the way and allow this amazing young lady to come forth and share just a little bit about herself and how she desired to be the change that she wants to see in this world. Welcome. How are you today?
I am good. How are you? It is great to see you again.
It's always great to be in your midst. I tell you, your testimony touched me the very first time I heard your testimony, and to see your resilience and just to see your growth and to see you and the things that you're doing. I tell people all the time, I may not see you every day or talk with you every day, but I see you. And I see the things that you're doing and how you are in trying to impact lives. Just the short time that I've known you, you are a self-published author. Not only have you become a self-published author, but you've went a step further and become a publisher.
Yes.
And helping those that want to get their story out there. So I applaud you. I'm going to move out the way and allow you the opportunity to share just a little bit about yourself, what this journey has been like, and at the end we're gonna inspire some people because this is what this is about, to allow our light, the light that He's placed on the inside of us, to shine in hopes that it would inspire somebody else. And you're definitely doing that. So I'm going to move out the way and give you the opportunity to share.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, of course, for being here, because every time I get with you, it's always a great time. But a little bit about myself. I am a mother of three, one daughter and two sons. I am a stroke survivor, and I am a Chiari malformation warrior. Most people don't have any idea what Chiari malformation is, and that's basically a serious neurological condition that there is no cure for. It's a decompression surgery that they offer to help with that. However, it creates more problems than it does solutions because it is a progressive condition. However, I've had a major setback with that Chiari in 2013, where I lost my ability to speak and walk. And so I had to learn how to do that again. It's been a challenge, to say the least. I am a college graduate. I went back to school at the age of 34. I graduated a year a year and 9 months. It was supposed to take me 2 years, but the way that I always push and challenge myself, I was able to complete that in no time. Even though I had every excuse under the sun not to be able to do that, I have raised some very great children who told me to put away my excuses and do what I was called to do, which was go to school and get my degree in medical office administration. I became a self published author in 2020. And I had a lot of criticism in the beginning because everything wasn't perfect. I had people tell me, oh, I wouldn't put my name on that simply because it wasn't perfect. But however, what they did not understand was that I needed to learn the process because of the conditions that I've had to endure. Having a stroke and dealing with P.O.W.E.R malformation was one of those things where you have to use your brain and you have to exercise what you have in order to continue to learn and process things. And so I've been able to see my own growth in that process. And I'm grateful also to my best friend who after writing her first book, she showed me what I needed to do. And so I took the information that she gave me and I basically ran with that information to become a self-published author. Not only do I have one book, I have 3 now, and I'm working on a couple of others at this time. And in December of last year is when I made the transition into the publishing world. So I am forever changing and forever challenging myself and growing and being able to inspire those around me to not give up because you're in a certain situation and it looks like tomorrow isn't going to be better than your today. But as long as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, your greater is always on the other side of what you're currently going through. So that's a little bit about me. Right now, I have more to say, but that's it right now.
I mean that is a start. That is an introduction, and what an introduction! I tell you, you are doing some amazing things, and to be able to press through all that you've endured. I mean, you touched on some things. You know, there's so many people out here that have never had to endure a stroke. They never had to endure the terminal illness that you have, the terminal condition that you have, because it's gonna progress and not regress.
Yeah.
So you know it you press your resilience. I'm grateful for your kids. You instill some marvelous values and morals in them, and it speaks volume for you as a parent. You know, sometimes
Yes.
we wonder if we're doing a good job. And you can look
Yes.
back over your journey and say, hey, I'm proud of myself because you got some
Yes.
kids that pushed you. And I tell you, that's amazing. Um, every time I see you, because I heard your journey and I know your journey, and I see you and I'm like, if people knew what she went through, um,
Mhm.
if they only knew, um,
Yes.
and we make excuses and we complain, um, they don't know what it's like to not be able to use your limbs,
Hmm.
and to have the use of those limbs and then lose them, and then you trying. I mean, because I can only imagine what a stroke patient goes through, because you haven't been able to use those limbs, and then now all of a sudden you can't use it, but you
Yes.
want to lift it up, and you your mind is telling you you can do it, but you can't. You
Yeah.
know, I've had the privilege of working with some stroke patients.
Hmm.
I helped take care of my grandmother. She my god grandmother. She was my
Hmm.
pastor at the time.
Okay.
I had the privilege of helping take care of her, and then I helped take care of my nephew's father before he passed away. Had the opportunity to help take care of them, so I definitely know what it's like dealing with someone with stroke, that have had a stroke, and dealing with that neurological.
Hmm.
You took that criticism and you ran with it in a
Yeah.
positive way. You didn't allow it to stop you. You didn't allow it to hinder you, and I thank you for that. People need to hear that, because a lot of people, they get those negative talks, and we get a lot of people that, oh, I will do this way, and I will do this way,
Yes.
and it deters you. But
Yeah.
you took it, and you took that negative and you turned it into a positive.
Yeah, I had even my neurologist, the first one that I had, he told me when I couldn't use my left side, he told me to simply just get used to it because that's what stroke patients do. And I refused to do that. And I told him, I don't have to get used to that. And I don't have to get used to you. I'm going to somebody else. And that's what I did. And the physical therapist that I had, I will be honest, I did not like her. And she told me she did not care that I did not like her. Her job was to get me to not feel and not treat myself as if I was handicapped. And at the end of our relationship, like I started with her in August of 2009. And she said, by Christmas, you will be walking. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And my first session with her, she was like, I need you to walk this line. And I was like, I can't. And so she was like, okay, you never ever say you can't. And I was like, honestly, I don't. I never say that. I said, but I cannot feel my leg. I said, so you're asking me to put pressure on something that I can't feel. And she said, okay, do you want people to treat you or look at you as if you're handicapped? I said, no, of course I don't. I said, however, I can't feel my leg. I said, so you're asking me to put pressure on it. I said, now if I fall, are you going to catch me? She said, I'm here for support, but I'm not going to be your source of everything to lean on. So you're going to have to trust yourself enough to get through this process. And that is why I am so solely dependent on the Bible verse, 2 Corinthians 5 and verse 7 is basically walk by faith and not by sight, simply because that's what I've learned to do in the midst of what I was going through. And so anytime I face any type of situation, I may not know what's going on, but I can always lean on that and look back at where I was and where I've become. And so it gets me through every single thing. And, you know, when I came down there to see you when we did the anthropology book launch or whatever, I don't think I told you, but right before I got down there, I had been let go from my job. And so I still made it down there. I still, you know, did everything that was required of me to be in that process. But the last 3.5 months have been overwhelmingly challenged. And it was enough to make anybody want to, you know, give up. I lost my job. Then in June of this year, I was faced with eviction. I had 10 days to get out, even though I was in communication with my apartment complex, down to the day before I had to go to eviction court. When I tell you, it was literally the place where I am now. It was 4:54 on the dot when this young lady called me and told me that I had been approved for my apartment. And I went to eviction court the next day, moved into the new place the next day, had just recently started a job. And then our family took a devastating hit where we lost a family member who was basically like the first child I ever had, even though I had never given birth. We took that loss, and it was detrimental to our family because it was so unexpected. However, I still managed to stay focused and be there for those that were around me that needed me, even though I was going through all of that stuff in the midst, you know. And so I sat and I was like, okay, God, I'm not quite sure what it is that you're expecting from me in this moment and in this time. But I understand whenever you make me uncomfortable, my greater is on the other side of what I'm going through. And I had given myself a timetable to be out of the old place anyway for September of this year. But obviously I had gotten a little bit complacent. And I was telling someone else, you have to be okay with letting go. And when you're able to let go, God is going to give you what you've been praying for. But however, you have to prepare for it. And I was in the middle of preparing for it, but I didn't understand that he was going to fast forward my timetable timetable. And he fast forwarded my timetable because honestly, I had gotten complacent. I had gotten content. And I was like, okay, I got time. I have until September. But he was like, you're doing a little too much. You're staying in one space and I need you to move. So in order for you to move, I'm going to have to create a situation that's going to force you to move. And it's going to force you to dig deep within yourself to see what else I have created you for. And so that's basically what's been going on.
Wow. like literally everything that you're saying, if people go back and look at these videos, these hear these interviews from today, I tell you, when I tell you God is strategic in what he there's I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in accidents. I truly believe that when we first crossed paths, that it was by
God's
divine
design.
connection.
Yep.
And I truly believe that, everything that is gonna take place in our lives was already mapped out. Jeremiah 29:11 says he had a plan for us.
Yes.
So it's us catching up with that destiny. Sometimes we get sidetracked, and we get out of alignment with what he has planned for us, and he had to pull us back in, or he had to let us go through some things. Or he had to let us endure some things. But see, we have to understand too that if we never overcome anything, how can we tell somebody how to overcome?
Exactly.
See, we got the power. The power is already on the inside of us. When he breathed that breath into us, he deposited that power on the inside of us. So now it's up to us. We have to position ourselves to be that overcomer by being willing vessels to go out to empower, encourage, and educate other people through everything that we've been through. This journey, this resilience, this will in the wheel that will not let us give up. You could have thrown in the towel. You could have made all kind of excuses, but you chose not to.
And the excuses come.
To be the change that you wanted to see in this world.
Yes.
Because you there's a legacy that you have to leave. We want people, we're wondering, what did those that came before us? We see some of the things that they've done, but what are we leaving for those that are coming behind us?
Yes.
What are people going to be able to say, oh, she impacted? I'm telling you, your testimony alone.
Yes.
That impacts, that is an impact on anybody that has use of their limbs and never been through anything. You have no excuse for nothing.
No.
Because there's too many people that have come across this platform that have, I'm telling you, some people walking around with 2-3 ailments going on, and doing more than the average person. You know what I'm saying? Doing some amazing things.
Yes.
But I'm just so, I get so elated when I see you guys doing positive things. I mean, I've seen some of the things that you're doing. I want you to share with the listeners how they can support your books, how they can support you. Say they want to publish and need some advice. Do you do consultations? How can they reach out to you to just have a conversation?
They can reach out to me. My publishing company is called Wings of Transformation. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find my YouTube channel. It's my name, TRIVEDA Harris. To support my books, you can contact me directly to purchase, or you can purchase from Amazon. However, when you purchase from me directly, you get a personalized note from me in the inside of the book, which I think is a little bit more special because I like to interact with each and every person that comes in my path. So I always say, just do that. You can do that at any time, and you can Like, I'm an easy person to talk to, easy person to approach if you need help with trying to figure out how to get started. Most people overthink the process of writing. And I don't want anybody to ever think that, okay, it has to be perfect, because we're all imperfect vessels. And God will use you as that imperfect vessel to impact someone else. So don't worry about the imperfections, because the imperfections don't matter, because you're perfectly made anyway in his image. So everything that you do is going to be perfect. So don't worry about what somebody else has to say. That's not even your concern. Just focus on what God has called you to do, because the thing of it is, God has given you an assignment. And your name is going to be on the assignment. You're never going to put your name on someone else's assignment. So don't focus on what someone else has to say. Your assignment is yours and yours alone. So to support me is basically Facebook, TRIVEDA Harris. Wings of Transformation Publishing is on Facebook. It's on Instagram. My YouTube channel, my TikTok is TRIVEDA Harris. I'm just in a whole bunch of different places. And this is the thing that I always tell anybody that I come in contact with is, if I can't encourage you or inspire you, I remove myself from your presence, because that is not what God has intended for me to do. I don't have any time to be negative, because I know what that feels like. I know when you're hearing that criticism. But if you focus, I'm my worst critic. So my son just told me something the other day. I was posting something on Instagram, and he was like, well, you quit overthinking the process and stop staying in the shadow of yourself. And it took me a minute to understand what he was saying. Now, my youngest son is 19. He's about to be 20. But he was like, you are an amazing person. And I need you to believe in the confidence of who you are, because you have a lot to say, but you tend to stay in the background a lot. And now is not the time for you to be in the background anymore. And I was like, okay, son, I hear you. But that ain't what I was trying to hear. I was asking for something else. He was like, okay, I know you were asking for something else, but I'm going to tell you this now, is that it's not time for you to be in the background anymore. You have to stand in front and walk into what God has created you to do and who he's created you to be. It's no longer time to hide in the background.
It's not, and I've been telling people that for the longest. And he was teaching you some stuff. Look, you don't raise the powerhouse over there.
I have
the powerhouse over there. I'm telling you, you should be proud of yourself. And I'm telling you, listen to them babies.
I do.
To them babies. They speaking some truth, and I'm telling you that has been the conciseness across these interviews that I've been sharing. It's been about imperfectness, and people understanding that we're not perfect people. I was just sharing with my last interview. I have a friend, his daughter, this is her first year in high school. He's a single father. He's raising her, and he questions, have he done a good job? I say, you'll never know if you don't let her go out and be the young lady that you raised her to be. And if you're going to second guess everything that you've done, then who knows?
Exactly.
Allow yourself to breathe and allow her to be free. I say, because in 4 years, whether you want to accept it or not, she's going to be on her own. She's going to be out from college, and then you're not going to have that sense of you're going to be worried because you didn't have the chance to see how she going to operate. Let her operate now. Give her some freedom, so when she get out there, she won't be so wild. I'm telling you, from somebody that been to college and didn't have that freedom, and when I got out there, I was out there. And the truth will set you free now.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll tell you, I went to Morris Brown. I was in the heat of Atlanta, and I was an athlete, baby. I was an athlete, so that was double trouble. So
yes, ma'am.
But I tell you, God is good. Because he allowed our journeys to not be too much to where we couldn't overcome. To where we can give back and we can help pull somebody along on this journey. You said something that I try to live by. If I can't encourage you, if I can't do these three things, I can't educate you, empower you, and encourage you, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And
Exactly.
if that's not what you are bringing forth across my presence, then I definitely don't want you in my presence. And I was just telling somebody, I don't have time for foolishness.
Right.
Because you know what? We don't time. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and you read scripture, ain't nowhere they talked about no time. They talked about
Mm-hmm.
eternity. They ain't talk about
Mm-hmm.
no time. Yeah, and I'm not
Yeah.
trying. I'm not trying to not walk in all those things. I want to catch up to all that destiny that is out there, because so much is
Yeah.
out. So much is already laid out there for us. We,
Yep.
some people waiting for something to fall out the sky, and they talking about discovering something. Baby, ain't nothing to be discovered. Ain't
It's
nothing
all there.
coming from under. The scriptures say, "Ain't nothing new coming from under the sun." Is that not right?
That's right.
Is that not word?
That
So
is it.
if that is the word and that is to be truth, and the word is the truth, then hey, everything
Yep.
that you need is already out here. Everything that you want is already out here. He say, look to the hills. And when you look to the hills, you are reminded that everything, that
Yes.
scripture that say that the hills or the whatever, the cattle or the whatever, the thousands of, I can't say it, but Juanita Bynum said all the time. And it's
Yes.
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 I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not a theologian, but I tell you,
Yep.
if you just have faith, you
Yes.
are definitely a woman of faith.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, everything that you've said, a lot of
Yes.
people that would have been faced with those things, they wouldn't have been able to be sitting here smiling.
No,
Didn't
not at all.
didn't going to eviction court and one day and getting ready to move into a place the very same day, the next day move in.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would have been they probably wouldn't have even been able to hold up to go to the eviction court.
No. And I had just started my new job at the same time. And it was one of those things where, people will be shameful of what they're going through and not share that with anybody else. But at the end of the day, it wasn't even about me at that time. And I haven't looked at it as being only about me, because those people who are always connected to me needed to know. And that's why I tell people all the time, I am one of the most transparent people you will ever meet. I'm not hiding my story, my circumstances, or anything that I go through from you, because you may need to hear that because what I went through, and if I was able to overcome it, you can do it too. It's just going to take one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, to get you over what you're going through, because your greater is on the other side of what you're currently going through. The situation may not look great, but your tomorrow is coming. So if you focus on your tomorrow, I guarantee you everything that is for you is coming to you. It's not going to be delivered to nobody else's address, because it's not assigned to anybody else. And so when it's not assigned to anybody else, you don't even have to worry about what somebody else has to say. The other thing that I always tell people is this: when you pray and ask God for something, don't be going over there bothering him, trying to figure out when he's going to bless you with what you asked him for. You need to mind the business that God gave you. Don't be trying to go over there and mind his business, because God is God all by himself. He don't need any help from us. We need him. We need his guidance. We need his instructions. We need his directions. So if you mind the business in which God has created you to mind, which is your own, and let him do what he needs to do, everything always works out in the end. And his timing is never delayed or denied. It's always on time. And that was one of the things that it taught me in that process. When I say 4:54 p.m., he was on time, and I was about to panic and everything. And my son had told me, he was like, don't you shed a tear, because everything is working itself out. And I was like, okay, son, I'm going to just make these couple of phone calls and we're going to see what's happening. And everything happened according to God's will and God's time. And I sat, and after we got here, I sat in the middle of the floor and I said, God, I see what you're doing. I see what you're working out for me. All you told me to do was be still and follow the instructions in which you gave me. And that's basically what I did, even though I had a little anxiety about the situation, because I'm human. And I did not allow my human side to take over, because had I let my human side take over, I probably would have been in the floor, balled up, crying, and just doing what was necessary. But I will say, out of this whole entire thing, the hardest thing that I had to do was speak at my cousin's funeral. Because when I say, that was interesting to say the least, because he was, like I said, my first child. Even though I had never given birth, he was my baby. I was the one who would sleep in the crib with him because he would not go to sleep until I got in the crib. Of course, I'm still the same height, but not the same weight as I was then. And he was my baby. And whenever I would, when I started dating when I was about 16, he did not like the fact that I was dating. He told me that he needed to go home. And I didn't need a boyfriend because he was my boyfriend and he needed to go home. So,
Wow.
he was like, you don't need him. He can go home. And anywhere I went, he was always with me. Even after I had moved out, had my own kids, got married and everything, he was still at my house. He took me to get my first tattoo, even though I was the older cousin and everything. So it was a hard thing for me to speak at his funeral. But I made it through that. And so I learned in that process that God equips you with everything that you need. Even if you don't realize what he's equipping you with, he will put you in a situation where you know that strength is coming only from him and no one else. And so he put me in that situation to be able to do that. I wrote the poem for him and I made it through. So I'm just grateful. I'm overjoyed with everything that I've been through. I'm in the process of helping a couple of people become published authors right now. And I am just looking forward to what God has in store for me through this process, because I will say I was a little nervous about starting this. However, I've had people around me who was like, okay, what's the problem? You know you can do it. It's like, it's not that I don't think I can do it. It's just the fact that it's a scary situation when you don't know. But God has always led me in the direction of, it's okay, one step, and I promise you, everything will fall into place. Don't be trying to think that you can do it all at one time, but that one step is going to get you to the next step. So learn to celebrate the small steps, because the small steps give you the bigger picture. So celebrate those small steps.
Exactly. And you said something like, people don't understand that we have not been on this journey before.
Right.
This life is an experience. We're all experiencing this. This is new to us. I've never been here before. And this all is new to me. And I'm learning as I go. I may make some mistakes. If I make some mistakes, then hey, I just pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep on going. And that's what we have to realize as people. It's okay.
Yes.
It's okay to not be okay. But when you know that there's some area that you're weak in and you need help, it's okay to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why he put people in our midst for us to be
Yep.
helpmates one to another. So I definitely am grateful for you. I tell you, I know that journey. I lost my cousin, my best friend, my brother in October.
Okay.
It took something from me. It shook my soul. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand why our book was delayed. Soulful Metamorphosis, that
Mm-hmm.
poetry book. I couldn't understand why it was delayed. But God allowed that book to be delayed because the poem that I wrote was dedicated to my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to share that poem at the funeral. I actually, like you, was able to share at the funeral, gathered the strength to
Mm-hmm.
share. I knew that it was something that I had to do,
Yeah.
and he would never put more on us than we could bear. And he always equipped us, like you said.
Yeah,
He
he
always equipped
equipped us with everything that we need. And that's the thing. Like the old saying says that, God never puts more on us than we can bear. However, I honestly, I disagree with that. And the reason I say that is because he's equipped us with everything that we need. It's up to us to dig deep within us to understand what he's given to us. And if you understand what God has given to you, you already know that he ain't putting nothing in your situation or in your path that you're not supposed to go through. Everything that you've ever learned or been through in this life is part of the puzzle in creating your bigger picture. So when you start looking at your puzzle, if you ever take time just to sit back and look at everything that you've gone through, each and every one of those pieces fit together to get you to where you needed to go. And so it's one of those things that you got to pay attention to your puzzle piece to know what piece is coming next. But we get so wrapped up that we can't even see past what hardship that we may be going through, that we miss out on that little piece that is necessary to connect the next piece. So that is one thing that I've learned. And I was looking over, I had some other job interviews and things, people asking for my resume. And one of the things that I realized today when I was looking at one of those, what I'm doing currently right now is in urgent care. But the other one, what someone sent me, because they were looking for my application, and it's like, okay, I hadn't done this until June of this year, but now this job is asking for what I do now. And I was like, okay, God, I see you working, because I needed to be in this position in order to get the information that I need. If I ever decide to transfer, I have the experience. So it helped me to understand that God never places you in a situation that you're not going to use what he's given you to the next level. So you got to start paying attention to that stuff, because every single thing is connected to your next piece, your next level of elevation. And in that time, he also will isolate you from certain things and certain situations so that he can get you prepared. Being in the room with you guys when I came down there in April, when I tell you, when I first got there, I was a little nervous and I was a little scared, because you guys are amazing all the way around. And so I was like, okay, God, I have no idea, but I'm going to tell you this. The vision God showed me in 2018 was something that I was like, God, I think you delivered this vision to the wrong address. I said, because you have me traveling to speak and to be part of something. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was in the middle of cleaning up my house. And so I was like, God, I don't think that was intentional for me, because I don't speak in front of people. That's just not me. I don't do that. And he showed it to me again in 2019. And I was like, okay, God, listen, I'm not quite sure if you keep sending me this vision, but I'm not sure it's addressed to the right person. And he was like, oh, no, it's yours. I just need you to focus on what I'm telling you. And so in 2020 came along, I reshared the poem, Black Woman. That poem led to me speaking at the virtual conference that Miss Maisha Henderson had for Atlanta, their women's conference. And so after doing that, I met Sheena, and I did her show, Victory of the Mind. After that is when we did the virtual monologue. After that is where I met you, and I did the interview with you. And then that led to the opportunity of doing the book with you. And so it was like every single thing that he did was strategic, and letting me know that that poem that I wrote when I was not able to speak was necessary. Like, all I had at that time was a pen and paper. I had nothing else. But that poem was written 6 years prior to 2020. So I just happened to reshare it. And that led to all of that, but it also led me back to understanding the prayer that I prayed at the end of 2019 going into 2020 was, God, help me to step outside of my comfort zone, and help me to understand that there are people that do not need to be in the presence in which you are going to take me. So help me to be okay with letting go, and let me know that the people that are connected to me, that are connected to the journey in which you have for me, have to be removed, and those that are a part of the destiny that you have for me will be connected to me. And basically that is what has happened. And I didn't understand that prayer too much until all of the things started falling in line, and they were falling in line to that vision that he gave me. So it was like, okay, I get it. I understand. I lost my job, but I still had somewhere I needed to be. And walking into that room with you guys, I was like, okay. And after starting to mingle and talk to everybody, nobody would ever understand how nervous I was, because you couldn't tell. because I just started talking and mingling and doing whatever while I was there. However, when I got there, I was like, Lord Jesus, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be in this space. But once I got there, I understood that it was necessary. It was part of what I needed to do. And so I'm just forever grateful for that, because you have no idea how amazing I felt after that.
Wow. Well, you are amazing. And I want you to know that you have purpose. And there are so
Mhm.
many people that are waiting to hear from you. Your
Yeah.
message is so powerful. Your resilience, and just sitting here, just hearing you today. I mean, it just lit something up under me. I'm just sitting over here like, I have been making excuses, and I've dropped the ball on a couple of things. I've been making excuses about being in school. I'm back
Hmm.
in school, and
Okay.
I constantly make excuses about being in school for not doing other things, and
Hmm.
no more excuses.
Yeah.
No more
And you
excuses.
got to understand, like I was telling some young ladies not too long ago, is that there's a difference between an excuse and a reason. If you don't have a valid reason as to why you can't do something, then it's basically an excuse. An excuse hinders us from doing what it is necessary that God is calling us to do. And that's the excuse is basically the same thing as being able to procrastinate. You procrastinate and you put those excuses together to not achieve the goal in which God has set for you. So you got to stop putting those two together. You got to break that relationship and do what is necessary for you to do. Because if you give yourself a valid reason to understand, okay, you know what, today I just can't do it, my health is this or whatever, that's a valid reason. However, if you just, oh, okay, well, I woke up late, I ain't got time to do this, you got the same 24 hours that you had yesterday, because he granted you that opportunity to open your eyes. So you had a choice and a chance. But what did you do with that choice and the chance that he gave you? That's what you got to start asking yourself. And those are the things that I ask myself every morning when I'm having a bad day and don't feel like I can get it together. Okay, you gave me this chance. What am I going to do with it? Am I going to make a change with this chance that you gave me? Or am I going to make a choice or an excuse to not do what it is that you're calling me to do? I had one young lady that came to me, and I was just talking to her, and it broke my heart. But I also understood she was coming to be seen. She had been dealing with a workers' comp kind of issue and everything. And I told her, you're young, but I'm going to tell you like this. You're not my baby, but you are my baby. I don't know you from anybody else, but I'm going to treat you as if you're my own child. However, it is this: advocate for yourself and go get your medical record so that you can find out what is going on with you. And then a couple of days later, she came back and she was like, can I please talk to you? And I said, yeah, you can talk to me. Just give me a second and I'll take you to the side. And what happened is that she had a situation where she was assaulted, and she didn't know who to talk to or who to turn to. And I told her, I said, you know what? I'm here. You call me if you need me to go to the hospital with you, whatever you need from me, you let me know. And the sad part about that is that the young lady's mother blamed her for the situation. And I told her, I said, it's not your fault. It's not anything that you did wrong. And you call me at any time, at any moment, because I know what your situation is like. And I know that it's a hard thing for you to process and a hard thing for you to deal with, but you're not alone. You have someone that you can call, that you can turn to. And she kept telling me, thank you, how much she appreciated me. And like I told her, I said, you don't have to thank me. This is what God, he guided you to this direction because you needed me in that moment. And I'm not going to turn my back on you, because you may not be my child, but you are my child. And I got you.
And
So.
people just don't understand. They just don't understand. I tell you, God is so good. And I'm gonna share a quick testimony that I have. I've been door dashing. I
Okay.
do a little door dashing on the side. So I had a DoorDash. I picked up a young lady's stuff. She was
Hmm.
an older lady, older
Okay.
Caucasian lady. She ordered some stuff from the dollar store and from Wendy's. Well, I delivered her stuff. And I was noticing that she was sitting on the porch, And literally, when I say sitting on the porch, she was sitting on the porch, like
Okay.
on the porch, floor part of the porch, not a chair.
Okay.
And I continued to observe and notice that the lady was paralyzed.
Okay.
I saw the catheter bag sticking out and everything. Well, long story short, me and this lady ended up having a 30-minute conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I left there in tears.
Mm-hmm.
All I could do was thank God and just I was in tears. Couple of days later, no, matter of fact, I got home that night. I told my sister about what had happened. My sister
Mm-hmm.
said she thinks she had that same lady as a dasher too.
Okay.
And the very next morning, how about my sister got the same lady? When she
Okay.
went to DoorDash, my sister got the same lady. My sister was on the phone with me at the time, and
Oh.
she told the lady, she said, "Do you remember the lady that delivered your stuff on yesterday?" She said, "That was my sister." And the lady was like, "Who, Angela?" Like she remembered my name. And she was like, "Yeah." She said, "That's my sister." She said, "Well, y'all are blessed." She said, "Because I don't have siblings and my parents don't have anything to do with me." Like, long story short, I ended up
Mm-hmm.
giving the lady 2 books. I gave
Mm-hmm.
her one of our books,
Okay.
from Broken to,
Recommended. Yes.
and I gave her one of the 121 Days of Prayer. Wrote a
Okay.
note, nice little note in each one of them. That's why it's important to get the book from the author, because you get a note.
Yes.
Wrote a nice little note in each one of them. How about
Mm-hmm.
this lady tracked me down through DoorDash? She
Yep.
had DoorDash to call me, not one time, y'all, 3 times. DoorDash
Mm.
called my phone. That first time she called, the lady said, she said, "I hate to bother you." She said, "But you visit a customer, you delivered something to a customer." She said, "The customer wanted to reach out to you." She was like, "Is it okay?" I said, "Yeah, they can follow me on social media." Was telling them, she said, "Well, I can't give them your social media information." She said, "But it's okay if I pass your number on to her." I said, "Sure." So she gave the lady my number. Evidently, the lady wrote the number down wrong. However, she didn't get the number.
Okay.
So DoorDash called me back. I was actually in the middle of doing a DoorDash, and I was in a restaurant,
Okay.
and I was talking to some people in the restaurant, and they was like, "If I hadn't been standing here, I wouldn't believe DoorDash actually called customers and talked to them." I said, "Yeah, this is the second time they called me today." They say a customer wants to connect with me, and they want. Well, the lady I guess she got upset or whatever. She just said, "Let me just three-way." The lady three-wayed us. Who do
Um,
that? I've never, in all of my years of living,
mm-hmm.
have ever had a company track me down for a customer to tell me that a customer want to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So this lady on the phone, she on the other line. So she say, DoorDash really don't know who they got working for them, do they? She said, this is a famous author and they don't know who they got. She said, "I just want to thank you for those nice notes that you play." She said, "Because I needed them." She said,
Mm-hmm.
"I needed every word that you put in there." She said, "It blessed me." That lady went and followed me on every social media site that I'm on.
Yep. And all it takes is just that one thing to extend yourself to somebody else, because you don't know just how much a smile can give to someone else. Just a small act of kindness or gesture or whatever. You don't know how much that saves somebody else. And so that's why I tell people all the time, just be mindful, because your situation might seem detrimental, but they could be going through something else, and you extending some grace and some kindness, some empathy, some
That's
compassion
it.
is it.
Empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Empathy.
Yep. And you gotta have it. You gotta have it to be able to extend it to someone else. And you gotta be able. My aunt used to tell me something all the time when I was a kid, and that was just keep living. It may not be your situation today, but if you just keep living, it could just very well be yours. And so that's one of the things that I take with me. My situation may not always be great. However, it could always be worse, but be grateful for what you're going through in that moment, because it could be worse than anything. And me learning how to speak, walk, and talk, not once but twice, people don't understand when I tell them I lost my ability to speak. I lost my ability to use the left side of my body. I still deal with localized seizures to the left side of my body. Those things are things that I deal with on a regular basis, but they don't define who I am. And they have not defined who I am. And when I share that I've lost my ability to speak, people are like, when? How? Because I don't understand it. But the way that I got my speech back, because doctors were so confused because they didn't understand, what was going on. Because I literally went to bed one night and woke up the next day, and it just went downhill from there. I went from the hospital here to Greenville all the way to North Carolina to try to figure out what to do and how to get myself. And so what I started doing was singing to get my voice back, because you use different parts of your vocal cords to sing. And so once I did that research, found that out, I would start singing. It didn't really matter what it was, to sing the alphabet song, just little things like that. And that is how I got my speech back. So it wasn't one of those things where it's like, okay, Lord, what am I supposed to do? They can't help me. I know that you got me, but how do we get to the next level? Because writing all this stuff down isn't gonna survive everything. And then I was on so many different types of medication that I was literally a walking zombie. And I was like, I cannot do this. I have got to get off of this so that I can also raise my children and do what is necessary. And once me and God started to have these conversations and get to know each other on a more intimate basis, things started understanding. So I understood, okay, God, you needed me to be there. And this is how I also learned to pray more specific prayers. Because before that happened to me in 2013, I prayed, I said, God, I'm just tired. I need a break. He gave me a break. That break lasted 2 years. That was not the break I wanted, but that's the one he gave me. So I learned to be more specific in what I was asking for. So anytime I say, God, okay, listen, I'm tired, but what is it that I can do to help in the area in which I'm tired? Because my body needs rest. However, I'm not trying to rest in any other area. So what can I do so that I get the rest that I need physically, so that I can still be mentally aware to get everything else done in what you have aligned for me? Because on this timeline, we have to do this. And I was telling a group of ladies when I was talking to them, is that our birth date we celebrate every year. However, the death date that we have is one that's left for our family members to understand and celebrate, or, cry or do whatever they need to. I said, but that dash that's in the middle is what's important. So what are you doing every single day between your birth date and in this dash that's going to impact someone else? So if you can think about every day when you get up, when your feet hit that floor, what change can you make? What inspiration can you give to somebody else in that dash? Because that date, that death date, is one that your family is going to know, but you'll never know when you leave this earth. So if you don't know when you're going to leave this earth, make sure that everything that's in between that dash is worthy of being celebrated and not being tolerated. So
wow. That's powerful. That is so powerful. I'm lost for words now, because that's powerful. That's something to really think about. To really think about. What are you doing? What will your dash say?
Yes. What will people remember about you? Yeah. What will they remember about you? Will people say, oh, she was a nasty person. Her personality, you didn't want to be in her presence. She always has a negative attitude. She was just not a pleasant person to be around. But if you're doing things to impact someone else and you're selfless, not selfish, it's worth it. But make sure when your feet hit the floor in the morning, you're doing something that's going to impact someone else in a positive way. And if it's not, keep yourself and your negative energy away from them, because that's not what they need. They can't grow from that. And we're all seeds. We need those dark moments to be able to grow and prosper and blossom into what God has created us to be. Darkness is necessary. So is the rain. So if you got to go through it, understand that there's a purpose for it. There's a purpose for the pain. There's a purpose for your darkness. But don't stay in that darkness and try to bring somebody else into that darkness that they can't get out of. Make sure that what you're doing and saying to other people is worthy of that.
Wow. Powerful. I definitely want people to be able to connect with you again. How can they reach you? How can
They
they
can
follow you? How can they support you? Once
they
again,
can they can follow me on Facebook as TRIVEDA Harris. My profile, my page, all of that stuff is public. So it's not like it's private or anything. You can't get to me or anything like that. Wings of Transformation is my publishing company. Wings of Transformation 21 is on Instagram. I'm on Instagram as TRIVEDA Harris. My YouTube page is TRIVEDA Harris. I'm on TikTok as TRIVEDA Harris. You can purchase my books directly from me. Of course, as I said, you can also purchase on Amazon. But the reason I ask people to purchase directly from me is because you get a personalized message from me in each book that I send out, because I feel like that connects you to me as well. Also, if you want to connect with me and just have a conversation with me, you're able to do that. Just go to Wings of Transformation Publishing and you're able to send me a message through the chat or however you feel like you want to talk, because I am available.
well, I thank you for stopping by and sharing. I tell you, you definitely have had a lot going on. I thank you for your press. I
Ye-
thank you for your resilience. And you keep shining. Keep allowing
Yes,
God
ma'am.
to let that light shine so bright. Um,
Yes.
you are definitely impacting lives. Thank you for stopping by. I love you, Queen. You be blessed and
I
enjoy the
love
rest of
you.
your evening.
Yes, ma'am. Love you too.
Thank you. I tell you, I
Bye.
have truly been blessed on tonight, you guys. I want you guys to take the opportunity to go over, check out her pages, follow her. Don't just go over and look at her stuff. Follow, click the like button, follow, support, share some of the things that she has posted. Y'all, that's how we truly support people. We may not follow them every day. We may not do everything that they do every day, but just sharing a comment, a like here, a like there, just showing people that you support what they're doing. You never know what they're going through, and you never know where you may be in that place where you need that support. So please, we're going to be showcasing these 122 Black authors from all over this world. They're going to be sharing their brands. They're going to be sharing what they're doing and how they are trying to impact the world and make and be the change that they desire to see. So join us, continue to support us Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. 11 o'clock to 7 p.m. We're going to be going live right here. I love you guys, and I pray that your evening is blessed. Stay connected. You can follow me on Linktree, Queen of Collaborations, on all platforms. But if you go over to Linktree, you have a list of all of the platforms that I am a part of. You can hear some of our podcasts. You can hear the radio show. You can click on books. Whatever you want to know about the Queen is right over there. But I love you guys, and I pray that your evening is blessed. Have a great one.